Hallelujah. All praise to the Most High. All praises to Yahuwah, Elu of Yasharah. Todah, O Most High. Todah Rabbah Yahusha, Todah Rabbah Yahuwah. But there's no one like you, Yahuwah. There's no one like you, Most High. Baruch Hashem, Yahuwah. Baruch Hashem, O Most High. Todah Rabbah, Father, for another prep day, Yahuwah. Todah Rabbah, Father, for you are wonderful and worthy to be praised, Yahuwah. Todah Rabbah, for your barakot, Father. For your ahavah, Father, for your covering, oh Father, for kafar, Todah Rabbah, for the kafar Adonai Yahusha. For everything that you do in us, through us, and for us, oh Yahuwah. For everything that you do for your people, Adonai. Todah Rabbah, Yahuwah. You are wonderful, worthy to be praised, worthy to be magnified, glorified, and honored. Todah Rabbah, Yahusha. You are amazing, you are wonderful, and worthy to be praised. You are Melech Kabod, Melech HaOlam. You are King of the universe. Baruch Atah, Yahuwah. Melech HaOlam, Melech HaOlam. Oh, Father, according to your loving kindness, Father, Baruch, oh, Yahusha. Baruch this discussion, Father. Be in the midst of this meeting, Yahuwah. Oh, Father, Baruch this prep day discussion, Yahuwah. Be in the midst of this meeting, Yahuwah. Oh, let it be your words and not mine, Adonai Yahusha. Let these be your words and not mine, Father. That these teachings may drop down like rain on fertile ground. That they may drop down like seeds in a fertile soil. Oh, Yahusha, rain down on us your blessings, Father. Baruch your people, Father, the blessings of the revelation of your word, Yahuwah. Let it be like living water flowing, Father, throughout the four corners of the Eretz, Yahuwah. Oh, Todah Rabbah, Yahuwah, Todah Rabbah, Yahusha. May everything that you want to come out, may it come out. May everything that you want to be stated, Father. I pray for a special level of barakot for everyone listening in, Father, and that's tuned in, Yahuwah. Those who are called by your name, Father, that they receive everything that you want them to receive, Father. Oh, Most High. May it be so, Yahuwah. May it be established, oh, Father. May these things come to fruition according to the covenant. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All praise to the Most High. May it be so. Hallelujah. Amen. All praise to the Most High. Hallelujah. Shalom, shalom, everybody. Man, had to bring it back to that secret place. Yirmiyahu. Shalom, shalom, Ben. Shalom, barakot. Natanya Smith, shalom, and barakot to you. All praise to the Most High. Shahanda Johnson, shalom and blessings. Shalom and barakot to you. Ima Oriyahu Deem to you. Shalom and barakot. Shashon Yahoo, shalom. Shalom. All praise to the Most High. Safe travels. Safe travels, Bob. Ari Moshe Israel, shalom, shalom. Did I see you? I think I might have saw you over the weekend. I think that was you. I can't remember. Shamar Abad Yahoo and Shakar. Shalom and Barakot to y'all. Shalom and Barakot. Shamar told Arabah. Told Arabah. For your diligence. Keep it up, man. Much appreciated. Oh, man. Hold on. Oh, no. We got to bring that back. Oh, we do. Zaria, shalom, shalom to you. Ima Yasha, Yasha Yahu, shalom and Hudim to you. Ima shalom Hudim. Dawid and Simcha, shalom Barakot, y'all. Shalom Barakot, Hudim to you, Ima Simcha. Imuna, shalom Barakot to you. Shalom Barakot. Okay, no worries, Ari Moshe Israel, no worries. I might have had you mixed up with someone else. Kun Rakam Yahoo, shalom, shalom. Much avah to you. It was through to see you as well. Through to see y'all. Let's see. Hezekiah, shalom, Ben, shalom. All praise to the Most High. All right, let's get it in, y'all. Man, that's that throwback. At least the first song was a throwback. I mean, the second and third song from the Secret Place. That first song was just some praise and worship that we was doing down here on the Shabbat. But all praise to the Most High, y'all. Hoping all is through on that YouTube. Shalom, shalom. What's going on? I want to give a Olam Hudim to Yahuwah and Yahusha HaMashiach. Olam Hudim. Le Yahusha le Yahuwah le Yahusha HaMashiach. I am Mispar Hudim. Le Melech Musha. Le Melech Yahusha. Kefel Hudim. Le Malka Kayel. Le Malka Yada. Kefel Hudim. Le Roshaluf Yithro. Le Rosha Atz Yeshayahu. Kefel Hudim. Le Alufim. Ula Gabira O. Kefel Hudim. Le Hagabira Malaka Deborah. Kefel Hudim. Le Hamushalim. Ula Hamushala Ot. I want to give a special Kefel Hudim to my Isha. Amet Yahu. Mushala Amet Yahu. Told out to Yahuwah for her. Praise Yahuwah and Yahusha for her. Hudim. To all the rest of the leadership. The Sarganim. Bakir Sarganim. To the Hadarim, the Hadarot. Bakir Yakum Yamin, Yamanim. Bakir Yakumar. Yaasim. To the Alufim, the Imayot, out here in the west. Hudim. To the Sarar Ezerot, the Bakir Ezerot. And Shalom Alechem, Lakol Mishpaka. Shalom Alechem to all of y'all. All praise to the Most High. Told out to Yahuwah and Yahusha. All right, y'all, we're going to get it in, though. So we're continuing through this journey of Enoch, the book of Hanuk. We're going to cover a few chapters and go from there. We're just going to get right into it. So, hoping everybody's through. I know a lot of people was traveling, in observance of the feast of the Moedim. Told out to the Most High for that. I know I seen a lot of y'all. I was able to see a lot of y'all over the weekend. That was through. So all praise to the Most High. Over the week, I should say. But let's go ahead and get it in. We're going to start off with chapter 78. All right, chapter 78. Don't be late. Let's go and get it in. The book of Hanuk. The sun and moon, the waxing and waning of the moon. This is chapter 78, y'all. And the names of the sun are the following: the first, or Haris, and the second, Tomas. And the moon has 4 names. The first name is Asanja, the second, Ebla, the third, Benase, and the fourth, Arai. These are the 2 great luminaries. Their circumference is like the circumference of the Shamayim, and the size of the circumference of both is alike. In the circumference of the sun there are 7 portions of light which are added to it, more than to the moon, and in definite measures it is transferred till the 7th portion of the sun is exhausted. And they set and enter the portals of the west, and make their revolution by the north, and come forth through the eastern portals on the face of the Shamayim. And when the moon rises, 1/14th part appears in the Shamayim. The light becomes full in her. On the 14th day, she accomplishes her light. And 15 parts of light are transferred to her till the 15th day, when her light is accomplished, according to the sign of the year. And she becomes 15 parts, and the moon grows by the addition of 14th parts. And in her waning, the moon decreases on the first day to 14 parts of her light, on the second to the 13th parts of light, on the third to 12, on the fourth to 11, on the fifth to 10, on the sixth to 9, on the seventh to 8, on the 8th to 7, on the 9th to 6, on the 10th to 5, on the 11th to 4, on the 12th to 3, on the 13th to 2, on the 14th to the half of a 7th, and all her remaining light disappears wholly on the 15th. Y'all, this is huge, y'all. This is huge, Mishpaka. And in certain months, the month has 29 days, and once 28. And Uriel showed me another law. When light is transferred to the moon, and on which side it is transferred to her by the sun. During all the period during which the moon is growing in her light, she is transferring it to herself. When opposite to the sun during 14 days, her light is accomplished in the Shamayim. And when she is illuminated throughout her light, it is accomplished full in the Shamayim. And on the first day, she is called the new moon. For on that day, the light rises upon her. She becomes full moon exactly on the day when the sun sets in the west. And from the east, she rises at night, and the moon shines the whole night through, till the sun rises over against her, and the moon is seen over against the sun, on the side whence the light of the moon comes forth. There again she wanes till all the light vanishes, and all the days of the month are at an end, and her circumference is empty, void of light. And 3 months she makes of 30 days, and at her time she makes 3 months of 29 days each, in which she accomplishes her waning in that first period of time. And in the first portal for 177 days. And in the time of her going out, she appears for 3 months of 30 days each, and for 3 months she appears of 29 each. At night she appears like a man for 20 days each time. At night she appears like a man for 20 days each time, and by day she appears like the Shamayim, and there is nothing else in her save her light. All right, y'all, this is really very interesting, because we talked about this last week, how when you're dealing with the calendar of Yahuwah, the calendar of Yahuwah is based off the luminaries and the Shamayim. It's based off of his creation. We have calendars. Several of y'all have the calendar, the Rebirth calendar. And as y'all see, it's based off the luminaries. It's based off of the luminaries and the Shamayim. That's what we use to calculate when the feast days are. That's what we use to calculate all those things like that. And so the fallen ones use the luminaries as well, though. So you can't just say, oh, well, that's like a set apart thing in a sense, not in and of itself, because all of the nations, many of the nations, pretty much all the nations, all the main nations, they use the luminaries, y'all, for their calendar. Even Babylon, y'all. Babylon uses a moon-based calendar. Babylon uses a solar calendar. The calendar we use today is called the Gregorian calendar. Y'all look it up. It's a solar calendar, Miss Parker. That's one of the luminaries. Ancient Babylon, they used a lunar calendar. The calendar, they used to worship the moon. That was a big part of their religion, as they worship the moon. Y'all know, as far as in Babylon, in modern day Babylon, Gregorian calendar is named after a pope named Gregory. Pope Gregory, he's a pope. That means he was from Catholicism, and we all know that Catholicism is big on sun worship. So it makes sense why they have a solar-based calendar. Y'all get what I'm saying? They worship the sun, y'all. That's why they're, well, let me say it like this, because they'll deny that. If you talk to a Catholic today, they'll say, no, we don't worship the sun. They'll deny that. But the customs of their religion surrounds around sun worship. A lot of the customs, let me say it that way. A lot of their customs surrounds around ancient sun worship, which is why their Kodesh Day is on Sunday. It's called Sunday. That's what it's called. It's not really. It's really Yom Rishon. It's really Yom Rishon. Remember, Yahuwah is the one who created the days of the week. You know what I'm saying? Not the fallen ones. The fallen ones, they tried to relabel the names of the week to be named after these other things, and these other things they were trying to get people to worship. These false systems of worship. Even Saturday, it's Shabbat. It's not Saturday. The heathen call it Saturday because they named it after a lua they worshipped. They worshipped in a lua called Saturn. So it actually was Saturn's Day is what they called it. That ain't what we called it. It's Shabbat. It's Shabbat. That's why we don't say that. We say Shabbat. Because the heathen named the days of the week after the Aluas they worshiped, the Aluas they served, and really that's just not through, because Yahuwah created the days of the week, so that's almost attributing another Alua to a thing that Yahuwah created, and you're attributing it and naming it after another Alua. Ain't that crazy? Could you imagine that? Imagine you being married, right? And trying to think of a through analogy or example, how crazy this is, that the heathen named the days of the week after other Aluas. Imagine, let's say, I'm married. I'm the and I buy my wife this clean car, man. I buy my wife this nice car. I was really happy, so that she'll be able to get to where she need to go. Did a lot of work and worked hard and made and was able to get her a nice form of transportation. I'll just say it like that. A nice and reliable form of transportation, so that she can get all the things she need to do day by day. Thousands of dollars, and I did all the work and I bought it for her. So let's say she take that car and she wants to name the car. Let's say she names the car after her ex-boyfriend or something. Or she named the car after her, let's say if she was previously married, her ex-husband. That's the best I can think of. That's the best I got right now for y'all right now, as far as an analogy. But it would just be, y'all just got to understand that the craziness of this, y'all, that they named the days of the week after other allures. It's like an unheard of craziness. It's ridiculous. Just as if I bought my wife a car and she named it after her ex-husband or her ex-boyfriend or something. Somebody else she was with before, other than me. You know, you'd be like, man, what in the world? That's ridiculous, right? You'll be ready to take that car back, right? You'll be like, you know what? Nah, give me that car back. You'll be highly offended. You know what I'm saying? It don't even got to be no whole car. It don't even got to be that. It could be something small. It could be a small gift, and if they attributed that to somebody else, another dude, you'll be hot. You'll be highly offended, even if it was a $10 gift. Better yet, something as expensive as a car. And so, what more with us? Yahuwah created the days of the week. He created the days. He created the arets for us to dwell in and to flourish, for mankind to dwell, his people to dwell in and to flourish. And we take those days of the week and we name it after another allure. How, Sway? Where we get that from? That logic from? Just think about it, y'all. Remember what the scriptures say, that the Shabbat was made for man and not man for the Shabbat? So the Sabbath was made for man. What does that mean? I submit one aspect, it means a lot, but one aspect is that it means Yahuwah created these days for you, for us. It was for our thub. So why would we go and name it after another allure from a fallen Malachim? Why would we go and name it after a fallen Malachim? Why would we go and name it after one of the Most High's enemies? They're crazy. So that's why we try to make an effort to say the biblical names of the week instead of just saying the English names of the week. That's why we do that. We'll say Shabbat, we'll say Yom Rishon, we'll say Yom Shlishi, Yom Shishi, etc., etc. These are the days of the week that Yahuwah named the day. That's what Yahuwah named the days. But with all that being said, the calendar of Yahuwah is based off the sun, the moon, and the stars. It's based off of all the calendar of the Most High is the only calendar out of all the nations where all the luminaries are used in order to determine the calendar. That's what sets Yahuwah's calendar apart from the calendars of the rest of the nations. That's what sets Yahuwah's calendar apart from the Gregorian calendar. That's what separates Yahuwah's calendar from the Julian calendar. That's what separates Yahuwah's calendar from the ancient Babylonian calendar, etc., etc. It uses the sun, the moon, and the stars, y'all. Loosely speaking, the stars is for the years, the alignment of the constellations, at least the general time frame of years. The moon gives you the months, and the sun gives you gives you the days. Sunrise and sundown gives you the days. Yahuwah's calendar uses all the luminaries. That's why you cannot use the moon to determine the Shabbat. As I mentioned last week, I did a lesson on that about a year and a half ago. A series of lessons surrounding the calendar and why you cannot determine the Shabbat based off of the moon. You cannot do that. It will never work. You will be confused trying to keep Shabbat using the moon, okay? When Yahuwah created a 7-day weekly cycle, there's no way you'll have a 7-day weekly cycle using the moon, because the moon doesn't have a 7-day weekly cycle. The moon doesn't have a 7-day cycle. The moon, according to what we just read, it tells you right here that the moon cycles every 29 days, some months. It says in certain months, the month has 29 days, y'all. It says, and once 28, it says on the 11th to the 4, on the 13th to the 2, on the 14th to half of a 7. trying to find where it was said it has 30 days. But in here, it was letting you know that the moon is sometimes 29 days, I believe, for 3 months. And then the moon cycles 30 days. Let's see. It says in certain months, the month has 29 days and once 28. Uriel showed me another law. When light is transferred to the moon. Let's see. Oh, here it goes. In 3 months, she makes of 30 days. And at her time, she makes 3 months of 29 days each. There it goes. In which she accomplishes her waning in the first period of time. And in the first portal, the 177 days, etc., etc. So, what does all that mean? That means that the moon does not recycle every 28 days. It does say here, which I thought was interesting, that 1 month it does 28 days. Now, hey, this is before the flood, because now today the moon does not recycle 28 days at all ever. You can do the calculations yourself. You know, after the flood, maybe that might have changed. That probably a lot changed after the flood. A lot changed on the Eretz. But at least we know during Hanuk's time, there was 1 month out of the 12. It says, and once 28, I believe it is saying that 1 month it does recycle after 28 days. Which means at least on that month you can get a 7 maybe. You know what I'm saying? You know, you can make an argument for 1 month maybe, because you know you got a equal 7 4 times on that 1 month. But in order for you to have a 7-day week, which is clear according to Torah, you have to have a 28-day month all 12 to 13 months of the year. All 12 months of the year, you have to have an even 28-day month. And that's never been the case. It's never been the case. When you read Torah, actually, when you do the calculations, you'll notice the scriptures always measured the months in 30 days always. I won't go into that right now to prove that because for time, but I went through that again about a year and a half ago. You can look on how the years was calculated during the flood of Noah and all that. It was 30-day months. So that's why people who try to use the moon to calculate the Shabbat, what they do is they have to add to the 7-day weekly cycle. And that's confusion. But the reason why they try to do that is because they do not understand a very simple concept. Is that the moon is for the months. It is not for the days. The sun is to determine the days. The moon determine the months. And then you got the stars and stuff like that. The alignment of the stars, the constellations and things like that. That give you the general time frame surrounding the years. Yes, sir. So that means what does that mean? That means you cannot use the moon to calculate a day of the Shavua, a day of the week, because now you're using the moon outside of what you're supposed to use the moon for, according to the Most High's calendar. And again, there's a whole lot to that, but let's keep moving. Because this is interesting. Because one big thing that's a discussion in Yasharal. So one big thing that we do is that we understand the full moon to be the beginning of the month. The full moon is the beginning of the month. I thought that was interesting reading this because it seems like this supports that. I thought that was very interesting to me. But let's look at this. Because, that's just one of those things that people, talk about a lot. Let's see. Yeah, this is deep. Okay, let's look at this, y'all. Hopefully y'all will understand this. I probably can maybe with some pictures help to explain this a little better. But look what this is showing. This is regarding the moon. It says, and 15 parts of light are transferred to her till the 15th day, when her light is accomplished according to the sign of the year, and she becomes 15 parts, and the moon grows by the addition of 14 parts. All right, so this is referring to the moon. So it says, and in her waning, the moon decreases on the first day to 14 parts of her light, on the second to 13 parts of light, on the third to 12, on the fourth to 11, on the fifth to 10, on the sixth to 9, on the seventh to 8, on the 8th to 7, on the ninth to 6, on the 10th to 5, on the 11th to 4, on the 12th to 3, 13 to 2, 14 to the half of a 7th, and all her remaining light disappears wholly on the 15th. That's huge, y'all. That supports the calendar that we use, y'all. Think about it. That's why when you're using the, so that's why, so what this is saying is on the 15th day, the moon is dark. That's all it means. Let me read it again. Just this part. It says 13:2 on the 14th, the half of a 7, and all her remaining light disappears wholly on the 15th, y'all. That is huge, y'all. That means that day one is the full moon. Just like we've been saying, or the beginning of the month, is the full moon. And then you start day one and it starts waning, day 2, day 3, day 4, till you get to day 15 of the biblical month. The moon is dark. That's why Pesach, which was last week. What day was Pesach? I think it was like the 26th. Man, I can't remember. I think it was the 26th, though. The moon was dark, wasn't it, y'all? Y'all can look it up online. Look at what was the, and remember, Pesach is always on the 14th of the month at evening. So then you get to the 15th, right? You're going to see a dark moon right at 14th at sundown. You can look up and you'll notice the moon is dark, y'all. I hope y'all understand what I'm saying. How this is supporting that. It's really interesting. This is showing that. Todah Malaki out here a while. Yeah, that was on Shabbat. Yeah, Natanya Smith Todah. So listen, it's a dark moon on the 15th month every month, according to the calendar that we go by. So it's just interesting that Enoch supports that. All right. There was something else I wanted to show y'all that I noticed. But nevertheless, we'll just keep going. But nevertheless, it's just a question that comes up a lot. It's just one of those things that y'all can look at. If y'all are interested in the topic surrounding the Most High's calendar, knowing when Rosh Chodesh is or the new moon is very important. But the new moon is when the moon is full, y'all. I know it's different than what we're used to in Babylon, because Babylon says the new moon is when the moon is dark. That's what makes it confusing. But yeah, basically, nevertheless, that's basically how it goes. The full moon is when the moon is full. The new moon is when the moon is full. Cadmiel, shalom to you. It's been a while. Verse 1 through 7? Okay. Most definitely. Verse 1 through 7. It goes through the names, right? Ahares, Tomas, the first name Asanja, the second Ebla, the third Manasseh, the fourth Array. Says these are the two great luminaries. The circumference is like the circumference of the Shamaim, and the size of the circumference of both is alike. The circumference of the sun, there are 7 portions of light which are added to it more than to the moon. And in definite measures it is transferred till the 7th portion of the sun is exhausted. They set and enter the portals of the west and make their revolution by the north and come forth through the eastern portals on the face of the Shamayim. And when the moon rises, 1/14th part appears in the Shamayim. So that's referring, Cadmiel, that's referring to the moon versus the sun. Whenever it's a full moon, the moon doesn't rise the same time as the sun. As soon as the sun rises, the moon falls. That's when you know it's the new moon. That's when you know it's the full moon. That's what that part's talking about. It says, and when the moon rises, 1/14th part appears in the Shamayim. The light becomes full in her. On the 14th day, she accomplishes her light. Again, this is supporting what I'm talking about. When it says on the 14th day, she accomplishes her light, I submit, this is saying that on the 14th day, the moon is dark. The light has been accomplished. The light is gone that's accomplished for that time frame. Because on the 14th day, which was Pesach this past month, the moon is dark, y'all. Because on the first day, the moon is full. You count 14 days, the moon is going to be dark. Then you get to the 15th day, you have a full dark moon. That's what this is saying. Now this will prove. Oh, my bad. I thought the screen was up. My bad. But here it goes. Oh, my face was up instead of the screen. Yeah, my bad, Cadmiel. So let me just go back through this one more time, just the last couple of verses. It talks about the circumference, okay? That don't have anything to do with as far as what we're talking about when the moon is full. I mean, when it's new moon. It goes into the circumference, the 7 portions of the light, etc., right? That's verse 4. Then number 5, I think, is where you were looking at, what you were talking about. It says, and they set and enter the portals of the west and make their revolution by the north and come forth through the eastern portals on the face of the Shamayim. And when the moon rises, here it goes right here. When the moon rises, 1/14th part appears in the Shamayim. The light becomes full in her. On the 14th day, she accomplishes her light. You get what I'm saying? So what that's showing you is that on the 14th day, the light has been accomplished. It's finished. It's dark now. It's a dark moon. And this will prove that that's what this means. This will prove that that's what this means when you keep reading. And it goes into very specifics. It says that 15 parts of light are transferred to her to the 15th day when her light is accomplished, meaning 15 parts of light are transferred to her until the 15th day when her light is accomplished, according to the sign of the year, and she becomes 15 parts, and the moon grows by the addition of 14 parts. So this is what it is. This is what that means, okay? That means that the light is dark. It's accomplished on the 15th day. Then after it's accomplished for 14. By the 14th day, it's dark. It's accomplished. And then starting the 15th day, it's a dark moon, but then the light starts coming back on it again, day by day until it's full. It grows by the addition, 14 parts after the 15th day. You get what I'm saying? And this proves that it's what this means, y'all. Because this chapter, it goes even more specific into how the moon works as far as its different phases is the word I'm looking for. Phases. Verse 8, and in her waning, the moon decreases. On the first day to 14 parts of her light. On the second to 13 parts of her light. On the third, so now it's going in on about how the waning works. It's saying on the first day to 14th parts of her light. That's a huge deal. Because what this is saying is on the first day of the month, y'all, that the moon still has 14 out of 15 parts of her light. Okay, I'm just looking at what you're saying at the same time because I want to make sure you're understanding this. So I don't get your question, but just look at what I'm showing you, okay? Look at verse 8. It says, in her waning, the moon decreases. When? On the first day. Okay? So think about this. Cap me out. Hear me out. If the moon started on the new moon, when it was dark, when the moon is dark, if the new moon, it was on a dark moon, on the first day, the light of the moon would not decrease, right? The moon would increase, right? I went by the dark moon calendar for years. When you start day one on the dark moon, the light increases, not decreases, okay? Now let's keep reading. I'm going to prove that that's what this means. In her waning, the moon decreases on the first day. When you go by a dark moon calendar, the moon increases on the first day. The light increases on the moon. It'll start turning to a sliver. Then it'll start getting fuller and fuller and go into 14 parts till you get to the 15th day. It's a full moon, not a dark moon. I hope that makes sense to you. But in her waning, it decreases on the first day to 14 parts of her light. Okay? That means that on the first day, so full moon is Rosh Chodesh. Then you have day one, the moon decreases a 14th part. That means 14th parts of the light is still there. It's majority light. On the second day, 13 parts. Thank you very much. Appreciated. On the third, that means it's the light is slowly decreasing day by day. That's what this is showing. You get what I'm saying? On the 5th, 10. On the 9th, on the 6th, 9. On the 7th, 8, etc., etc. On the 14th, the half of 7, and all her remaining light disappears wholly on the 15th day. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't disappear wholly on the first day. Okay, you got it. Hallelujah. Praise Yahushua. Praise Yahushua. So what this is showing is on the 15th day, it's a dark moon. Not on the first day. See, when I first came into this walk, I thought the first day of the month is when the moon is dark, but it's the 15th day of the month is when all the light is supposed to disappear from the moon. So that's giving you that means the new moon is on a full moon. The new moon is when the Rosh Chodesh is when the moon is full of light, which makes sense. Which makes sense when you think about how everything else was, you know. When Yahuwah created everything, it was in its fullness. You know what I'm saying? Like when Yahuwah created the sun, moon, and the stars in Bereshit chapter 1, you know, he didn't create it as no half moon or a dark moon. You know, when he created the sun, everything was in its fullness when he created it. So it makes sense, y'all, that the moon starts, the start of the moon or the head of the moon is at a full moon. That makes sense. What we did is we just looked at what the people who are in the land today, or what we think is the land, or what some think is the land today, we're doing, and just say, yeah, we're going to go with that. Or we Googled when was the feast days, and they went by that, so we just went with that. But Yahuwah, praise to the Most High, is giving the understanding. And I didn't realize this until now, y'all. Enoch supports this. Enoch supports this fully. This is very clear in this passage that the moon starts in a full moon, according to Hanuk. That the first day of the moon is during a full moon. Really, really through. All right, y'all. Nevertheless, let's keep going. All right. So we're in chapter 50, 60, 79. And now, my son, I have shown thee everything, and the law of all the stars of the Shamayim is completed. Yeah, my Isha, she probably can tell I'm a little, I'm trying to get over a little something. And she had brought me some tea. Praise Yahushua for the Isha, man, I tell you. And now, my son, I have shown thee everything, and the law of all the stars of the Shamayim is completed. And he showed me all the laws of these for every day, and for every season of bearing rule, and for every year, and for its going forth, and for the order prescribed to it every month and every week, and the waning of the moon which takes place in the sixth portal, for in this sixth portal her light is accomplished. And after that there is the beginning of the waning, and the waning which takes place in the first portal in its season till 177 days are accomplished, reckoned according to weeks, 25 weeks and 2 days. She falls behind the sun in the order of the stars exactly 5 days in the course of one period. And when this place which thou seest has been traversed, let me read verse 5 again, make sure I read that right. She falls behind the sun and the order of the stars exactly 5 days in the course of one period. And when this place which thou seest has been traversed. Such is the picture and sketch of every luminary which Uriel, the archangel, who is their leader, showed unto me. Uriel, chief Malak, leader of the luminaries, governor of the Kabul, leader of the luminaries. All right. Chapter 80. 50, 60, 70, 80. And in those days the Malak Uriel answered and said to me, Behold, I have shown thee everything, Enoch, and I have revealed everything to thee, that thou shouldest see this sun and this moon, and the leaders of the stars of the Shamayim, and all those who turn them, their tasks and times and departures. All right. Perversion of nature and the heavenly bodies, owning to the sin of men. Okay, that's the title. Verse 2, and in the days of the sinners, the years shall be shortened, and their seed shall be tardy on their lands and fields. And all things on the earth shall alter and shall not appear in their time. Man, this is deep. And the rain shall be kept back, and the Shamayim shall withhold it. And in those times the fruits of the earth shall be backward, and shall not grow in their time, and the fruits of the trees shall be withheld in their time. And the moon shall alter her order, and not appear at her time. And in those days the sun shall be seen, and he shall journey in the Arab, or the evening, on the extremity of the great chariot in the west, and shall shine more brightly than accords with the order of light. And many chiefs of the stars shall transgress the order prescribed, and these shall alter their orbits and tasks, and not appear at the seasons prescribed to them. And the whole order of the stars shall be concealed from the sinners. Ooh, man. And the thoughts of those on the arets shall err concerning them, and they shall be altered from all their ways. Yeah, they shall err and take them to be Elohim. Man, that's exactly what happened. That's why they named these things after other Elohas. That's why Yahuwah said, don't be dismayed by the ways of the heathen. Don't be dismayed by the stars and the things like that. Let's look at some Torah real quick. This is scriptures all y'all know about, but I want y'all to just keep these in mind. Shemot 20, this is in the 10 Commandments. You shall not make for yourself a carved image, any likeness of anything that is in the Shamayim above, or that is in the Eretz beneath, or that is in the water under the Eretz. You shall not bow down to them nor serve them. For I, Yahuwah, your Elohim, am a jealous Elohim, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me, for showing mercy to the thousands, to those who love me and keep my commandments. Man. Let's look at another one. Let's look at another one. It said Yirmiyahu, chapter 10. Well, let's look at this one first. Deborah 4. Gonna pull up a couple of Torah precepts, y'all. And take heed. This is Deborah 4, verse 19. And take heed, lest you lift your eyes to the Shamayim. And when you see the sun, the moon, and the stars, all the hosts of the Shamayim, you feel driven to worship them and serve them, which Yahuwah your Eluah has given to all the peoples under the whole Shamayim as a heritage. Man, but Yahuwah has taken you and brought you out of the iron furnace, out of Mitzrayim, to be his people, an inheritance, as you are this day. Man. And I was thinking about Yirmiyahu chapter 10 that everybody knows about. Let's see. Look at this, y'all. Hear the word which Yahuwah speaks to you, O house of Yasharal. Thus says Yahuwah, do not learn the way of the nations or the heathen. Do not be dismayed at the signs of the Shamayim. For the heathen or the Gentiles are dismayed at them. And then it goes into, the custom of what we would call today the Christmas tree. For the customs of the peoples are futile, for one cuts a tree from the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They decorate it with silver and gold. They fasten it with nails and hammers so that it will not topple. That's where the custom that people do for Christmas comes from. But as you see, that chapter starts off with not being dismayed by the things in the Shamayim, by the sun, moon, and stars, and be driven to worship them and things, because that's what the heathen do. They're dismayed by those things. And so it seems like this is giving a kind of an explanation of maybe why the Most High was so serious about that, because this is one of the things that the fallen ones, those who err, were going to fall into. Enoch, it was prophesied about this. It says, yea, they shall err and take them to be Elohim. That's referring to my understanding, the sun, moon, and stars. And evil shall be multiplied upon them, and punishment shall come upon them, so as to destroy all. All right, we're in chapter 81. And he said unto me, observe, Enoch, these heavenly tablets, and read what is written thereon, and mark every individual fact. And I observed the heavenly tablets, and read everything which was written thereon, and understood everything, and read the book of all the deeds of mankind, and of all the children of flesh that shall be upon the earth to the remotest generations. And forthwith I blessed the great Master, the King of Kavod, forever, in that he has made all the works of the world. And I extolled Yahuwah because of his patience, and Baruch him because of the children of men. And after that I said, Baruch is the man who dies in righteousness, and Thubah, concerning whom there is no book of unrighteousness written, and against whom no day of judgment shall be found. And those 7 Kodesh ones, brought me and placed me on the arets before the door of my house, and said to me, declare everything to thy son Methuselah, and show to all thy children that no flesh is righteous in the sight of Yahuwah, for he is their creator. 1 year we will leave thee with thy son, till thou givest thy last commands, that thou mayest teach thy children, and record it for them, and testify to all thy children. And in the 2nd year they shall take thee from their midst. Let thy heart be strong, for the Thub shall announce righteousness to the Thub. The righteous with the righteous shall rejoice, and shall offer congratulation to one another. But the sinners shall die with the sinners, and the apostate go down with the apostate. And those who practice righteousness shall die on account of the deeds of men, and be taken away on account of the doings of the godless. Let me say this again. And those who practice righteousness shall die on account of the deeds of men, and be taken away on account of the doings of the godless. Okay, I think I get what that means. And in those days they ceased to speak to me, and I came to my people, blessing Yahuwah of the world. Yeah, I think what this might be meaning, and I'll look into this deeper, but it says, and those who practice righteousness shall die on account of the deeds of men, and be taken away on account of the doings of the godless. So what it seems like is that the wicked, many righteous will be persecuted by the wicked, basically, which is what happened. Many of the righteous will be taken away on the account of the deeds of the wicked. Many of the righteous will be persecuted. And taken out on account of the Kodesh of the righteous. So yeah. It says, and in those days they ceased to speak to me, and I came to my people, blessing Yahuwah of the world. All right, so now we're in 82. And now my son Methuselah, so now he's talking to his son. Y'all know Methuselah, everybody know about Methuselah. He the one who lived the longest. He's the longest living person in the scriptures. The understanding was, I believe it was Methuselah when he died is what signified when it was time for the flood. That might have been one of the reasons why he lived so long, Methuselah, the son of Enoch. It was like his death, I believe, was probably what signified. It was like he was the last out of that bloodline that had to die before Yahuwah went on and decided to take out, to flood the earth. Because Noach, son of Lamech, so I believe Methuselah had Lamech. I got to look at the bloodline again, but I believe Methuselah is Noach's grandfather. Let me see here. Let's see. That's Noah's, Noah's grandfather. Methuselah, Noah's grandfather. So you had Enoch, he had Methuselah. Methuselah, I believe, had Lamech, and then Lamech had Noah. So it's this Kodesh bloodline, this Kodesh seed that was preserved. And Methuselah lived a very long time, longer than anybody else in the scriptures. At least that was recorded. Let's see, how long did Methuselah live? Yeah, so I believe Methuselah lived to be 969 years, so almost 1,000 years. So as y'all see, before the flood, people just lived a lot longer, y'all. That's how you know things was just very different before the flood. In the atmosphere, the levels of oxygen, everything, y'all. And now, my son Methuselah, all these things I am recounting to thee and writing down for thee, and I have revealed to thee everything and given thee books concerning all these. So preserve, my son Methuselah, the books from thy father's hand, and see that thou deliver them to the generations of the world. I have given wisdom to thee and to thy children, and thy children that shall be to thee, that they may give it to their children for generations. This wisdom, namely, that passeth their thought, and those who understand it shall not sleep, but shall listen with the ear, that they may learn this wisdom. And it shall please those that eat thereof better than through food. Blessed are all the righteous. Blessed are all those who walk in the way of righteousness and sin not as the sinners. That's what we got to be teaching our children, y'all. In the reckoning of all their days in which the sun traverses the Shamaim, entering into and departing from the portals for 30 days, with the heads of thousands of the order of the stars, together with the four which are intercalated, which divide the four portions of the year, which lead them and enter with them 4 days. Owing to them men shall be at fault, and not reckon them in the whole reckoning of the year. Yeah, men shall be at fault, and not recognize them accurately. For they belong to the reckoning of the year, and are truly recorded thereon forever. One in the first portal, and one in the third, and one in the fourth, and one in the sixth. And the year is completed in 364 days. Man. And the account thereof is accurate, and the recorded reckoning thereof exact. For the luminaries, and months, and festivals, and years, and days has Uriel shown and revealed to me, to whom Yahuwah of the whole creation of the world hath subjected the host of the Shamaim. And he has power over night and day in the Shamaim, to cause the light to give light to men, sun, moon, and stars, and all the powers of the Shamaim which revolve in their circular chariots. And these are the orders of the stars, which set in their places, and in their seasons and festivals and months. And these are the names of those who lead them, who watch that they enter at their times, in their orders, in their seasons, in their months, in their periods of dominion, and in their positions. Their 4 leaders, who divide the 4 parts of the year, enter first. And after them, the 12 leaders of the orders, who divide the months. And for the 360 days, there are heads over thousands who divide the days. And for the 4 intercalary days, there are the leaders, which sunder the 4 parts of the year. And these heads over thousands are intercalated between leader and leader, each behind a station, but their leaders make the division. And these are the names of the leaders who divide the 4 parts of the year, which are ordained: Milkiel, Helimelech, and Melejal, and Narel. And the names of those who lead them: Adnarel and Ijasusael, and Alomeel. These 3 follow the leaders of the orders, and there is one that follows the 3 leaders of the orders, which follow those leaders of stations. that divide the 4 parts of the year. In the beginning of the year, Melchijah rises first and rules, who is named Tamaini, and the son, and all the days of his dominion whilst he bears rule are 91 days. And these are the signs of the days which are to be seen on earth in the days of his dominion. Sweat and heat and calms, and all the trees bear fruit, and leaves are produced on all the trees, and the harvest of wheat, and the rose flowers, and all the flowers which come forth in the field. But the trees of the winter season become withered. And these are the names of the leaders which are under them: Berkael, Zelepsel, and another who is added a head of 1,000, called Helujaseph. And the days of the dominion of this leader are at an end. So this is going through what we would call the seasons in English. Right now we're in the beginning of the year, which is what we would call in English the springtime. And it's very interesting how this is explaining at the time when the flowers bud and all those things. The flowers on all the different color flowers come out, and the flowers on the trees come out, and all these things like that. And that it seems like there are hosts that are in charge of the order of this, even the seasons. Really interesting. Verse 18, the next leader after him is Elimelech, whom one names the shining sun. So that's the summertime. See what I'm saying? Let's see. The next leader after him is Elimelech, whom one names the shining sun. And all the days of his light are 91 days. And these are the signs of his days on the earth: glowing heat and dryness. And the trees ripen their fruits and produce all their fruits, ripe and ready. And the sheep pair and become pregnant. And all the fruits of the arets are gathered in, and everything that is in the fields. And everything that is in the fields. And the winepress, these things take place in the days of his dominion. Man, that makes sense. Because, the summertime is when all the fruits become ripe. Like if, any of y'all ever had fruit trees or fruit of the vine. We have in our old house we had two big fig, pretty, well, not huge, but we had 2 fig trees that got pretty big. They weren't full grown, but they was pretty big. It's maybe 15-year-old trees roughly. Maybe 10 to 15-year-old trees. And then we had a vine, a blackberry vine. And then we had a grapevine, and they would all get ripe in the summer. They would all be ready to pick during the summer. So that's interesting. I don't know why I didn't think about that, but that's when the fruits become ripe. We had we would grow watermelon several times. We didn't, we haven't done it in a while, but we would plant watermelon vines, and they wouldn't be ripe until the summertime. You plant them around the spring, and then it's around around midsummer when they're ready to pick. That's the opportune time for your watermelon, at least in Texas. But I think that's probably the case pretty much everywhere. It's just interesting that you see this laid out here. But nevertheless, it says, and their fruits ripen ready, and the sheep pair and become pregnant. And all the fruits of the earth are gathered in, and everything that is in the fields and the winepress. These things take place in the days of his dominion. These are the names and the orders and the leaders of those heads of 1,000. Gedijah, Keel, and Heel, and the name of the head of 1,000, which is added to them, Asphael, in the days of his dominion, are at an end. Now that's very interesting to me. That it kind of stops there, but let's keep going. All right, we're in 83. We're going to go through chapter 85 today. So this is chapter 83, I believe, or 84. It shows 83, and then it says 84 right here. So I believe this is 84. Let's keep going. We're going to go through 85. Note it says 83. We'll see. And now, my son Methuselah, I will show thee all my visions which I have seen. recounting them before thee. 2 visions I saw before I took a wife, and the one was quite unlike the other. The first when I was learning to write, the second before I took thy mother, when I saw a terrible vision, and regarding them I prayed to Yahuwah. I had laid me down in the house of my grandfather Mahalel, when I saw in a vision how the Shamaim collapsed and was borne off and fell to the Eretz. And when it fell to the Eretz, I saw how the Eretz was swallowed up in a great abyss, and mountains were suspended on the mountains, and hills sank down on hills, and high trees were rent from their stems and hurled down and sunk in the abyss. And thereupon a word fell into my mouth. And thereupon a word fell into my mouth, and I lifted up my voice to cry aloud and said, the earth is destroyed. And my grandfather Mahalel waked me as I lay near him, and said unto me, why dost thou cry so, my son? And why dost thou make such lamentation? And I recounted to him the whole vision which I had seen. And he said unto me, a terrible thing hast thou seen, my son, and of grave moment is thy dream vision as to the secrets of all the sin of the Eretz. It must sink into the abyss and be destroyed with a great destruction. And now, my son, arise and make petition to Yahuwah of Kabul, since thou art a believer, that a remnant may remain on the Eretz, and that he may not destroy the whole Eretz. My son, from Shamaim, all this will come upon the Eretz, and upon the Eretz there will be great destruction. After that I arose and prayed and implored and besought and wrote down my prayer for the generations of the world, and I will show everything to thee, my son Methuselah. And when I had gone forth below and seen the Shamaim, and the sun rising in the east, and the moon setting in the west, and the few stars, and the whole Eretz, and everything, as he had known it in the beginning, then I blessed Yahuwah of judgment, and extolled him, because he had made the sun to go forth from the windows of the east, and he ascended and rose on the face of the Shamaim, and set out and kept traversing the path shown unto him. All right, we're in chapter 84. And I lifted up my hands in righteousness, and blessed the Kodesh and Great One, and spake with the breath of my mouth, and with the tongue of my flesh, which Yahuwah has made for the children of the flesh of men, that they should speak therewith, and he gave them breath, and a tongue and a mouth, that they should speak therewith. Blessed be thou, O Yahuwah, King, great and mighty in thy greatness, Yahuwah of the whole creation of the Shamaim, King of kings, and Yahuwah of the whole world. And thy power and kingship and greatness abide forever and ever. And throughout all generations thy dominion and all the Shamaim are thy throne forever, and the whole Eretz thy footstool forever and ever. For thou hast made, and thou rulest all things, and nothing is too hard for thee. Wisdom departs not from the place of thy throne, nor turns away from thy presence. And thou knowest and seest and hearest everything. And there is nothing hidden from thee, for thou seest everything. And now the Malachim of thy Shamaim are guilty of trespass, and upon the flesh of men abideth thy wrath until the great day of judgment. So now you're seeing why Yahuwah is judging the Eretz, because of fallen Malachim, because of sin of men, which the fallen Malachim caused. And now, O Yahuwah, and Yahuwah and great King, I implore and beseech thee to fulfill my prayer, to leave me a posterity on the Eretz, and not destroy all the flesh of man, and make the Eretz without inhabitant, so that there should be an eternal destruction. And now, O my Adon, my master, destroy from the Eretz the flesh which has aroused thy wrath, but the flesh of righteousness and uprightness establish as a plant of the eternal seed. And hide not thy face from the prayer of thy servant, O Adonai. Man, y'all. So that's huge. That goes back into the concept of the Kodesh seed. And even today, because we're dealing with judgment that's coming on the Eretz even today, and that there is going to be a posterity that is preserved, that the Most High will start all over with even there in this time. But this is showing how Enoch did, or Enoch, he prophesied. Yahuwah showed him about the flood that the Yahuwah was going to destroy the earth. I said, man, that was the vision he saw when he was young, where he saw the earth being swallowed up by the abyss. If y'all ever seen the movie Abyss, the abyss many times is associated with going underwater. Yeah. This isn't when Yahuwah flooded the earth, y'all, during the times of Noah. When Yahuwah flooded the earth, that wasn't the first time that the earth was covered with water. And I submit that wasn't the first time that maybe Yahuwah judged the earth by flood. Because when you look at Bereshit chapter 1, it seems like the Most High might have flooded the earth even before the flood of Noah, y'all. Look at this. In the beginning, Bereshit, Alua, created the Shamayim and the Eretz. This is Bereshit chapter 1, or Genesis chapter 1. The Eretz was without form and void. That means the earth was in chaos and disorder, y'all. It says, and darkness was on the face of the deep. Y'all, if you read this carefully, what this is saying is that the earth was covered in water, y'all. This is, I remember when Malek Yahusha brought this out a while ago. This is showing that the earth was covered in water. And this proves it. Look, right after this. And the Ruach of Alua was hovering over what? The face of the waters. Why? Because it says the earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. Yeah. The earth was covered in water, y'all. So could it have been that Yahuwah had judged the earth before? Because the earth being without form and void means that it was in chaos and disorder. That's tohu wabohu. It means it was in chaos and disorder. Something happened, y'all. See, in the beginning, Bereshit, the Lord created the Shamayim and the Eretz. Y'all, the Most High don't create nothing that's in chaos and disorder. Remember, Yahuwah is not an author of confusion. That's what the scriptures say, right? He's not the author of that. Something happened after verse 1 that caused the earth now is without form and void. Now it's in chaos and disorder. And so now the earth is covered by water. And then this Ruach of Alua was hovering over the face of the waters. And he said, let there be light, ha'i or, let there be light. And I mean, if you keep reading, it proves it. I mean, you can just keep reading and you'll see everything was covered with water. There was no land on the earth at this time after it was in chaos and disorder. You can see this. It says, then in verse 6, Yahuwah said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. Y'all, there wasn't even no firmament. Everything was covered in water. So that's when he made the firmament. And then verse 9 gives it away. It wasn't until you get to verse 9 that you see Yahuwah caused the dry land to appear. Then the Lord said, let the waters under the Shamayim be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. This is the same thing that happened during the days of Noah, when Yahuwah caused the water to recede and dry land to appear after he flooded the earth. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So nevertheless, with all that being said, it was prophesied ahead of time that way before Noah that Yahuwah was going to destroy the Eretz. This is Enoch, y'all. This is Noah's great grandfather, I believe. I think that because Methuselah was Noah's grandfather, so I believe that would make Enoch his great grandfather. Noah's great grandfather. All right, let's do this last chapter, 85. And after this I saw another dream, and I will show the whole dream to thee, my son. And Enoch lifted up his voice and spake to his son Methuselah. To thee, my son, will I speak. Hear my words. Incline thine ear to the dream vision of thy father. Before I took thy mother Edna, I saw in a vision on my bed, and behold, a bull came forth from the arrest. And that bull was white, and after it came forth a heifer. And along with this latter came forth two bulls, one of them black and the other red. And that black bull gored the red one and pursued him over the arrest. And thereupon I could no longer see that red bull. But that black bull grew, and that heifer went with him. And I saw that many oxen proceeded from him, which resembled and followed him. And that cow, that first one, went from the presence of that first bull in order to seek that red one, but found him not, and lamented with a great lamentation over him and sought him. And I looked till that first bull came to her and quieted her. And from that time onward she cried no more. And after that she bore another white bull, and after him she bore many bulls and black cows. And I saw in my sleep that white bull likewise grow and become a great white bull. And from him proceeded many white bulls, and they resembled him. And they began to beget many white bulls, which resembled them, one following the other, even many. Okay. So that's it for today. We got to look at this because bulls usually doesn't represent something thub. A bull is usually representative of like pride, haughtiness, things like that. But yeah, we might need to look deeper into that to see if they're referring to some oxen or anything like that. But yeah, very interesting stuff nevertheless. Very interesting. Let me see what y'all got though. See if y'all got anything. Latanya Smith, yeah, that's very interesting. She said the moon phase is interesting. And then she has said solar, yeah, where they worship the sun. Nakama Yahoo, shalom and blessings to you. Shalom and blessings. Elisheva Yahoo, shalom and blessings to you. Yeah, y'all told out for confirming the 26th. Malaki Yala and Natanya Smith. Yeah, Cabby, yeah, those were through questions, though. Yeah, those were through questions. All right, Natsarim of Yahusha Elohim of the New Jerusalem. Hanuk 78. During the 14 days, the light is accomplished in the Shamaim. When she is illuminated throughout her light, is accomplished full in the Shamaim. Enoch 78. Okay, let's see here. And he's quoting verse. Nyla Harris, shalom to you. It was Thub seeing you. Thub seeing you over the week. All right, in verse 12, on the first day she is called a new moon, for on that day the light rises upon her. She becomes full moon exactly on the day when the sun goes down in the west, and from the east she rises. Khan. Yeah, so Natsarim of Yahusha, I don't know if you're trying to make a point at all, but if you're trying to, you might not have heard the whole thing, the whole lesson. You might not have heard all what we talked about, because we went through those exact verses to show that what it's referring to is the I'm not if you. So this isn't to come at anybody based on. Let me say this, Nasserine. I understand the sensitivity of the calendar. I've been in the walk long enough to know that that's been a point of contention for Yasharel since day one. That's been a point of contention for Yasharel since for thousands of years. You'll realize that even in the ancient times that was a point of contention. But what I can tell you is according to Enoch 78 though, it supports the full moon calendar, meaning the full moon is day one. It supports that. And I went through it specifically. I showed you line by line. That's exactly what it's saying. Does that mean you need to go with it? That's something, that's for you to, to make that I'll tell you this, we go by the full moon calendar, and it wasn't because we saw it in Enoch. It wasn't because of that. Our leaders had received that revelation many years ago. Through many other reasons, many other things. I did a teaching on it. Many other reasons to do the full moon calendar than just it was in Enoch. Okay. I'm just realizing that it's clear in Enoch just now when we were going through it. But if you read chapter 78, and if you look at the whole teaching I show very clearly, it's supporting a full moon calendar, meaning day one of the month, or the new moon. I'm not going to say day one. The new moon is the full moon, according to Enoch 78, at least the version that we're reading. Maybe there's some other versions that say something different. I know there's, a few versions of Enoch, but the version that I'm reading right now, the Enoch chapter 78 is supporting the full moon calendar, meaning the Rosh Chodesh, new moon, is a full moon. And then day one, it slowly starts, the light starts dissipating little by little, a 14th part. Day 2, a 13th part. Day 3, that's what it tells you. Until you get to day 15, it's completely dark. That's what it teaches in Enoch 78. So I don't know if you were asking about that while you were quoting that, but all praise to the Most High. Let's see, what else? Cody Selah, shalom, shalom to you. Shalom, shalom. All right, Malachiel Hilawal, let's see. Said, would you surmise that Milkama war with Hasatan and the third getting kicked out of the Shamayim? Oh, I don't get what you mean. Would you surmise that Milkama with Hasatan and the third getting kicked out of the Shamayim? My apologies, I don't get what you mean. Oh, you're referring to in Bereshit in Genesis 1, when the earth was tohu wabohu, or without form and void? Actually, Khan, I did think about that. And many actually do believe that. It's called the gap theory. Many believe that, even in Christianity, that something like that might be associated. Yeah, I just don't know. This is the reason why I wouldn't just be all in with that. This is the reason why I wouldn't be all in with that idea. Because when Hasatan fell on the Eretz, I ain't gonna get into that right now. That's gonna be another about 30 minutes. But I'll say, but Khan, I know exactly what you're talking about, though, and hey, it's a possibility. We don't 100% know for sure. There's some other thoughts that I have, though, surrounding when Hasatan fell. Yahusha said, I saw Hasatan fall like lightning. There are certain nations that started coming into power. And I do believe that's probably associated with when Hasatan fell, y'all. That when he was casted down on the Eretz. Because listen, in the book of Job, Hasatan still had access to the Shamayim. He was amongst the council still. You see what I'm saying? He was amongst the council still. Going to the Most High, accusing the brethren, accusing Job, or trying to, Listen, I'll just show you this. I ain't gonna get into that too deep. I'll just go into this because it's a through question, and we might as well at least just a little bit, like maybe 3 to 5 minutes. Y'all look at this, y'all. This is in it's in the Brit Hadashah. Luke chapter 22. Verse 31, it says, and Yahuwah said, Simon, Simon, that's talking about Peter, indeed, Hasatan has asked for you, that he may sift you as wheat. So it's, there's just some things to think about. I'm not making any clear, no strong stances, but it's just some things to think about that I think about. When you go to the book of Job, look, it says, in verse 6, now there was a day when the sons of Elua came to present themselves before Yahuwah. And Hasatan also came among them. What? Yeah, I know. Y'all know these verses. We went through Job and the Midrash. And we know about these verses, but it's interesting. Like Hasatan has some sort of access to the Most High, some sort of access to the Shamayim still, Could it be something that maybe... Man, let me turn this light on. It's getting dark. Oh, there we go. Could it be something that's like maybe a time in modern day history where something shifted on the Eretz? Well, Hasatan no longer had that access, It's something to pray on and seek more understanding on. But yeah, that's a through question. Raphael said, could we really have 13 months since we have 2 full moons in 1 month every 2 to 3 years, the blue moon? I meant to talk to you over the weekend, forgot. Oh, man, you was there? Oh, man. Shalom, shalom to you, though, Raphael. But no worries. Maybe next time. Could we really have 13 months since we have 2 full moons in 1 month every 2 to 3 years? Yeah, man, that's one of them things because, yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that one. That's going to take some digging because I just know that sometimes it's usually 12 months in the year. It's usually 12 months, but I believe every now and then there's 13 months, 13 new moons. I believe every now and then you do have that. But I have to look deeper into that to answer your question clearly. But nevertheless, all praise to the Most High. Let me say this. When I mean 13 months, I just mean 13 new moons before the new year. 13 new moons before the new year. I believe. I don't remember. But y'all, much ahavah. Most High willing, we're gonna get into this. We're gonna get into this again next week. But told out to Yahuwah and Yahusha for y'all. Lakam la shalom.